Chaplain Charlie will tell you about how the free world will conquer communism with the aid of God and a few Marines. God has a hard-on for Marines because we kill everything we see. He plays his games, we play ours. To show our appreciation for so much power, we keep heaven packed with fresh souls. God was here before the Marine Corps, so you can give your heart to Jesus, but your ass belongs to the Corps. Do you ladies understand?
Sir, yes, sir.
I can't hear you.
Sir, yes, sir.
I thought that would be a great place to start today, because I didn't think I would ever live to see the day when a Marine would try to find a way to get out of fighting a war. That's the job of politicians. That's what they're supposed to do. Now, in case anybody out there is thinking, I know what you're gonna think, why do you want a war so bad? Why do you want things to, be so terrible? Nobody wants that. This situation should have been dealt with a long time ago. This has been allowed to get way out of control, and if we had taken care of it when it should have been taken care of, it wouldn't be the giant festering wound that it is now. If our military has a problem with doing their job, then I guess we might as well just mothball things. If that's going to be their desired goal, to try to... And look, like I said, politicians, yes. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, no. Definitely not a 4-star Marine general. He should be sitting there saying, okay, here's what we can do, President. Let me know when you need us to do it. This isn't his role. And I guess it just goes from how different things are from when I was in. Now, as promised, I had said that this channel was going to go back to what I know and what I do best, which is Central American human intelligence. And I think it is about that time. We're going to still keep an eye on things over there, but primarily my wheelhouse is Central American, South American affairs. It's what I did in the military. It's what the channel started out being. And if there's anybody who has any questions or comments about different specific things about the Fitzgerald issue, I can point you to a video that'll probably cover it for you. So, without any further ado, last May, early June, I was trying to sound as best I could the alarm bell about what was going to be happening in Venezuela, Colombia, Panama. And during this whole time with the Fitzgerald, this is just boiled out of control. This is the president of Venezuela now calling for nationwide military, anti-imperialist military drills. The Colombians have come out and warned the U.S. not to intervene down there. I don't think I can overstate the case of just how dangerous an area this is. These people, quietly, not to those of us who've been paying attention, but world stage-wise, have been fighting a war for 30 years in these jungles with these drug cartels, and they are as well equipped as any military in the world for ground troops. Not, they don't have strike eagles, but you get out in the bush with these guys and they are as bad as they come. They are mean, nasty, dirty, hard dudes, and they will fight tooth and nail. And they know that jungle. And it is not a pleasant place. Not at all. And while we have pivoted to Asia and Central America, this area here has been largely ignored. Now, during my time, late 80s, early 90s, there was a much greater emphasis on it. Now, this was the pre-Clinton military reduction years when our military was much, much larger, and we could do a lot of different things at the same time. The entire unit that, I mean, other than the 82nd, that went down and ousted Manuel Noriega doesn't even exist anymore. The 7th Light Infantry Division out of Fort Ord, that's where Mythbusters does their tests. It's just pretty much a ghost town. And Seaside and all the little areas around there are just dried up husks of what used to be a bustling, huge military town. The Presidio is still there. The linguist school is still there. But it has, you know, an entirely different focus than my time. But it's a, you know, everybody had, during the election, talked about the wall with Mexico and, you know, all the Mexicans coming across the border. And when you spend some time down there, you'll realize that that has nothing to do with the problem. It really doesn't have anything to do with it. And you can't build a wall around Florida. And just to see if I still have that map up. Yeah, here we go. Now, if you look at this, if these people want to get here from here, they're not going to go way over here. They can go from here, they can go to here, 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 and they do. If you get in a small private plane and you fly over this side of Florida, you will see nothing but uncharted runway after uncharted runway after uncharted runway. These people come in and out of here without anybody doing anything about it. And in case anybody wants to know all the stars are, this is just Google. This is just where I'm from. It's where I live. But it's a very, very, very impenetrable place. There would be almost nothing, at least at this point, our military could do other than airstrikes. We couldn't put ground troops down. They're not ready for this. We don't have guys that are ready for jungle warfare right now. We don't. The jungle warfare school, I mean, over here we've got Camp Landing right down the road from me, and it's hot, and it's kind of like what you might encounter. It's swampy and, you know, humid, but it is nothing compared to the Darien Gap or the deep, deep, deep jungles where these guys live and operate. These guys can pretty much do whatever they want with impunity. And that's why they've been able to do what they do for so long, because they're, you can know about Afghanistan all you want, you're never getting these guys out of here. And it's not just the U.S. has a drug problem, the world has a drug problem. And there's a lot of money tied up down here, and I am still bound by obligation to not reveal what I know about certain things regarding the current administration and their late 80s, early 90s dealings in this arena. But it's a terrible thing what's happened these last 6 months to this country. But hopefully at some point it'll all come out and we can get back together again as a country instead of hating each other so much and trying to kill each other like in Charlottesville. Just ridiculous. When there's real enemies to be fighting very, very, very close. And I'm still going to say it right here. This whole thing with the Fitzgerald, I thought for sure was going to happen here. Something to the effect of that. They were going to knock out a ship in the canal zone somewhere. But apparently the Chinese had different plans, or whomever had different plans. I say that because the Chinese have huge interest down here in Panama, and I'm wondering if maybe that's why that things haven't happened. But they're going to. They really are. And I've covered this before. The vice president of Venezuela is a Syrian Druze tied to Hezbollah. And I've done videos on that too, and they're out there. You have to go back quite a ways to find them. But there are all sorts of Hezbollah operatives around here getting entrenched with these people. And it is not very far, folks. We just had that thing with the Cuban diplomats. that almost deafened some U.S. people, U.S. I guess diplomats themselves. I'm not really sure exactly what their titles were, but it is not like this stops many people. Like, here's Aruba. This isn't a very hard trip to make for those who would do us harm. And, you know, they're not going to bother going through Nicaragua and Honduras and El Salvador and Guatemala and southern Mexico and dealing with all this. Another thing, people in Central America and South America don't really even see Mexico as part of Latin America. They just don't, because it's so Americanized. And it's so enslaved to the southern part of our country. It's an entirely different culture down here. One of the examples I like to use when I was in human intelligence, sometimes the people we would pick up would be pretty young, kids. And honest to God, I'd be sitting across from them, and I could put a toothbrush and toothpaste on one side of the table, and I could put an AK-47 on the other side. And the kid could pick up the AK-47, you could drop the clip, you could load it, you could lock it, you could do whatever you wanted, you know, blow your head off with it. The toothbrush and toothpaste, no idea. Probably eat the toothpaste and probably try to sell the toothbrush. No clue what it was for. That's just the culture difference down there is amazing, and they don't see death like we see death. It's a very, very frightening group of people. So I'm not going to make these videos very much longer as far as time-wise per video. But folks, just pray for the people. We have a lot of Americans in Panama, and we don't have the military presence like we used to. Keep your eyes and ears open and watch this very, very closely. www.colombiareports.com is an excellent source of information about what's going on down there. It is an English website that covers these issues. And if you go into these articles and you look at the difference between the ELN and the FARC and the war that they've been having and the disarming treaties and what's really gone on down there, it will surprise you that it's not a bigger news story than what it is. I mean, pretty much if you ask anybody about Venezuela, they'll say, well, it's just a failed socialist state and they're poor and they're falling apart because they're a bunch of socialists. It is so much more than that going on down there. So anyway, 13 minutes, probably too much of your time to waste tonight. But thank you, everyone, for subscribing. We're getting close to 6,000 subscribers. 2 months ago, I had 700. So it's all about you guys. I would love to hear anybody's input who's maybe ever spent any time in the military, or, you know, from those pre-Clinton days when, you know, the military was something that most of the world feared. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Thank you.